Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. In this video we're going to be discussing some of the negatives with ceramic coatings. If you read the product description and performance claims of some of these products, you'd almost be forgiven for thinking they've got magical powers. In this video though, we're going to take a look at the positives and negatives of these particular coatings to try and give you a balanced view on whether they're the most suitable product for protecting your car.
That I am wrong or how we're close now. I've been making my amends. Come and see. Where have you been off to now? Wait for me, dear beloved, lend me light as I wander off into the night. Or I won't be found. Or I won't be found.
Okay guys, welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. So, ceramic coating pros and cons. The main purpose of this video is I want you to know the negatives of using ceramic coatings. They are kind of the latest and greatest things on offering at the moment in terms of how we protect our cars. But it's important with anything like this to really run through what you're not getting from these coatings, and that's what we're trying to do in this video. So let's crack through this list of negatives first of all, and then I'll end the video with a general summary. So negative number one, guys, the obvious one: cost of the products. These ceramic coatings can cost anywhere between sort of typically £30 up to £50 for 30 millilitres of product, and that price can continue to go up. There are some that you might be able to find that are cheaper, but typically £30 to £50 for a standalone one-shot ceramic coating that you could apply to your car or apply multiple layers to your car, and then it's gone, and then you've got that protection package on your car. You also have now a lot of the companies offering these top coat ceramic products, which I've been looking at a lot this week, and I am actually quite impressed with them. But these top coats that offer you kind of a more repellent coating to protect the sort of more higher solids coating underneath, and that's simplifying it a bit. And those top coat coatings now cost as much as the bottom base coats, if you like. So really, to get the most out of the ceramic coatings, you've got the option now of perhaps doubling up and almost buying two products, which adds a significant amount of cost. Now, as well as the cost of the ceramic coatings, you've got all of the sort of accompanying products that you can use to support the ceramic coating. The sort of water-based or the wet maintenance top-up coats to really give you that boost of gloss and repellency as the coating sort of loses some of those surface characteristics over its shelf life. They're not cheap. You also have specific kind of washing detergents and shampoos that are formulated to use with these, although you don't have to use them. And the same with all the accompanying products, even decontamination products that have been developed to sort of not strip the coatings and be more friendly to the coatings and stuff like that. So the first negative is by signing up to using this product, you will introduce a significant cost. Now, as always, the counter argument to that is that once you have the coating laid down on your car, you should really be saving money potentially by not putting a wax on it every 3 or 4 months, or topping up a sealant. But really, pound for pound, you're still going to be using those maintenance wet coats like you would a wax or a sealant to kind of top them up every sort of. You're going to do it after 6 months, and then probably every sort of like at least 3 to 6 months after that, just to keep it buzzing. You might even find guys that every time they're cleaning their cars and washing them, they're using these wet kind of spray-on coats to top up the performance. So this first particular point, it will cost you more generally to sign up to this routine of using ceramic coatings to maintain your car, and they are significantly more expensive than other forms of protection on the market, regardless of the durability that they offer. That's the first negative. The second negative, the effort required to prepare these coatings properly, even though in principle it's the same prep effort that you would apply for a sealant or even a sort of long-lasting wax. perhaps less so with a wax, where you could typically just clean the surface and put it on with less consideration about, you know, prepping it thoroughly, but maybe more so for a bonding sealant. But these ceramic coatings, really, because of the sort of semi-permanent long durability that they offer, that's into years rather than months, you get more out of the coatings by preparing the car properly and getting the finish of the car up to a high standard, and degreasing, even taking that stage of it before you apply the product more seriously. And to do that is quite a significant investment of time. So they're less casual in terms of the effort required to prepare them, and that's one of the main considerations, that you need to set aside at least a day to do this, but quite typically at home, possibly multiple days, to apply these coatings. Adding on to this point now, that the tendency for these products really, or requirement for these products to be layered, even the base coat products to have multiple layers, or the top coats being layered on top, adds a significant amount of time to be able to install the coatings. The third negative is probably false expectations of the product around certain areas of performance. And the main area of performance that the false expectations will come from are scratch resistance. But there will also be a lot of false expectations about the kind of repellent and gloss retention of these products. You know, if you're buying these and expecting your car to kind of stay highly repellent to all kind of liquids and have the same level of gloss as the day after you've done the application, it won't. You'll still be reliant on doing maintenance washes on that car to get all the dirt off of the coating so it's clear. You know, there isn't a layer of dirt between the coating and all the liquids that are hitting it, because that will kill all the repellency and the gloss characteristics. But the main one, or the main reason I think a lot of people go and buy these, is because they see some of the demos around scratch resistance and stuff like that, and feel that the coating is almost like a layer of armour or physical protection over your car. You can still slice these coatings up with dirt like you can with the clear coat on your car. The coating, typically, if you should put one layer of base coat down, let's just say you've got around about a micron of ceramic coating, potentially less, potentially more, depends how you wipe it off or whatever. But that, a scratch, there's very few scratches that are actually as deep as a micron. If you can see them with reasonable light, they are usually deeper than that. That being said, I still think these ceramic coatings do give you a certain amount of scratch resistance, and especially on softer clear coat finishes where people are having a lot of problems, they can really make a big improvement. And I've recommended them to a few people that have had problems keeping their cars kind of swirl free, and they've seen an improvement. That performance will also degrade as the coating is kind of eroded away over its shelf life. But do not buy them because you think you're getting a bulletproof, rock hard coating that's going to be scratch proof, because it most certainly isn't. The repellency characteristics of lots of the base coats are not that impressive, and you are reliant on the maintenance top-up coats to kind of provide that repellency. You can almost put a base coat ceramic on your car and just leave it and lose most of the repellency characteristics rather rapidly. So don't also buy them because you think your car's going to become like a bead monster with them on top, because it won't. Those are the main things I wanted to cover around false expectations. So let's go on to the next negative now. So number 4, and this is the big killer for me, the big killer that doesn't often get talked about, is once you've put that coating on your car, you lose the ability to then use abrasive products to refine and bring up the gloss on your car. Now, abrasives have been around in the sort of detailing or car care, industry for a long time, and polishing the surface of a car, whether it's by hand or by machine, is it's the most effective way to enhance the finish of the car. Now, obviously you don't want to be doing heavy correction and cutting and machine polishing your car every other week and stuff like that, but still using these abrasives, especially the ultra fine finishing polishes, is a way to really bring up the gloss. And you can do that loads of time, because say I always work to the 30 micron example. When you're using a soft finishing pad and an ultra fine finishing polish, you can polish your car and take potentially less than a micron of clear off of your car. So you can do these ultra fine finishing polishes many times. Heavy correction, that's a different matter. You can't do that week in, week out. You know, ultra fine polishing you shouldn't be doing week in, week out, but you could do it once a year without any sort of major hiccups or considerations. The moment you put that coating on your car, you cannot use abrasive products to refine the clear coat without going through that coating. And that immediately puts a lot of products that I like to use every now and then out of bounds because of the fact they're abrasive. And that would cause me problems. So if you've got like a show car, for example, and you want to gloss up the finish before you take the car into a show, then ceramic coatings are definitely not for you. Well, I say definitely not for you. The car still looks nice after you've polished it and stuck a coating on, but you can't refine that finish on an ad hoc, on-demand basis without stripping the coating. And also, on the same note, if you have, say, after 6 months noticed that your coating that you put down there, you've inflicted a ton of sort of swirl damage from it being washed, maybe not your fault, not having a go, you know, it can happen. You can't then go and polish out those without having to strip the coating off, go through the coating, take the scratches out, and then reapply the coating, which is a ton of work. That's one of the biggest negatives for me. The next negative, there are implications when you put a ceramic coating on your car to then, if you have to refinish or get any paint work done on your car, you have to let the body shop know about that because, okay, a lot of times when they're refinishing, they're buzzing off the surface anyway. They could be doing little localized smart repairs, but they're not typically expecting the car to be ceramic coated, especially if they're blending a respray in onto another panel across, and they have to potentially strip that coating off of the area they're going to be targeting. So you have to let them know about that. And of course, once they've stripped it off and then done the paint work, you then have to get the coating back onto that car afterwards. So you're going to have coating on some bits and not coating on other bits. Now, if you've done it yourself, it's not the end of the world because you might have some coating left, or you might have to go and buy some more of the coating to reapply, which is a bit of a pain and it would be a significant cost. But if you've got a professional to do it, then you've got to get that pro back in to reapply the coating on top of your car. And little nicks and scrapes, you know, on the surface of cars are very common, especially if, you know, if you've got a missus like mine who takes the cars out and uses trees, you know, as the kind of thing to guide her. When she feels the bump, she knows she's gone far enough. I get in trouble talking about things like this. But, you know, joking aside, even it's very common to just nick your car and need to get these smart repairs done or have particular panels repainted. The next negative, which is really talked about a lot, is the water spotting issues with coatings. This is more of an issue, I think, if you're applying them themselves and you've not heard about this issue and you're not aware of it, that especially the high solid base coats, ceramics if you like, once you've applied that to them, they're vulnerable after that application to, if water lands on them and is allowed to dry, the minerals can bed into that coating, especially before it's fully cured. Now, the solution to that water spotting problem, the initial wave of solutions was the spray-on kind of hydrophobic, like top coats if you like, or maintenance coats, your reloads, your cures, your C2 V3s. Now, the good news is those products are really effective at solving the problem, and they're not too expensive. But it's still a consideration, especially with a lot of guys that want to apply these products outside. So it's something to be aware of. It's a well talked about negative with ceramic coatings. I think the solution is actually pretty solid, but the danger is you might not be aware of it. And if you get those water spots, heavy water spots in the car, in the actual coating, you know, on application, you could find yourself in trouble. The next negative is risk of poor application. So although in theory these coatings, they require a lot of work to apply, in theory it's quite easy to apply them properly. It's also very easy, no matter how good and competent you are, to make a mistake and not spot it, just because of, you know, angles of light and stuff like that, you can't always see the little kind of footprints of, you know, sometimes when you've laid the coating out and you're buffing it, you could just get a little footprint of microfiber almost, just as the cloth comes over and sort of bumps on the surface that you wouldn't see unless you're at the right angle and the right light. You could also have a high spot or some trail lines of an area that you didn't quite catch when you were buffing. It is easily done. To be fair, it's quite easy to go and remedy it. You know, you could just compound that little area off, degrease, and then reapply over it. But that's a lot more hassle than if you missed the spot when you were doing some waxing. And you know, obviously a wax or a sealant isn't going to be able to leave these sorts of hardened footprints in your car. These implications as well of poor application become more significant when you're using the professional grade coatings that are higher in solids that can do many years, you know, 7 years plus some of them claim, where those coatings could potentially need to be wet sanded off. So if you get it done professionally and you spot a problem, you could always go back to that professional, show them what the problem is, and I'm sure they'll be able to remedy that. You know, they might strip it off one particular panel and then reapply there and you're done. If you do it at home, you might have used all the products and you might spot it a week later after it's cured, then you've got to go and buy another bottle of the coating and go through the process yourself. So there are more risks of poor application or application issues and the consequences to then correct those issues. So the ceramic coatings do really impress me, and they do deliver on their product claims, and they are making innovation and headway in their performance all the time that is worth tracking and worth seeing, because there's some good stuff out there. Like I say, are they right for me on all my cars? Well, the big thing is I don't want to put waxes on top of my ceramic coatings because it defeats the object. You know, I believe if you're going to sign up to this regime, you want to use the products that they formulated to work with these coatings, and sticking a wax on top, you know, as always, will make the car look great, but then it's the negatives around wax. You know, the coating isn't designed to really have a wax sitting on top of it. The wax is half made of solvent, and you know, there's all these things, and I like wax in my car. So that if it means I can't ever use a wax on that car for 2 to 3 years, really, I'm not saying you can't, but like I say, I wouldn't. I'd sign up to the products that these guys are using and have tested. And if wax was the best thing to put on a ceramic coating, there'd be a CarPro wax, you know, instead of the CarPro Reload, and so on and so on. So I lose that ability to look at new products and test new products, and I love wax in my car. And the same with sealants. I wouldn't go sticking acrylic sealants or polymer, you know, silicone polymer sealants on top of these ceramic coatings because it defeats the object. And the big one that I talked about, I can't ever, once I've got the ceramic coating on, go and give my car a nice sort of refining finishing polish in the summer to bring up the gloss and then stick a wax on top afterwards, and that hurts me, that does. So they might not be right for someone like me, but I'm so impressed by them that I do think it will make an improvement to how my car is maintained and protected over the traditional sealants. I really believe they are a big improvement, and they're quite clever and quite sophisticated, and I'm really impressed by them. So this video isn't to slate them, it's just to highlight all the things that I've sort of, since I've been playing around with these, that are going through my head. As always, there's going to be a ton of other negatives that I've missed in this quick brainstorming, so I'd be really interested in what you think about ceramic coatings. I know a lot of people are kind of like on the brink of you know, giving them a go and trying them. That's why we're delving into it on the channel. A lot of people are holding back because of some of the things that I've talked about. But what are the things that run through your head if you haven't used them, or if you have been using them a long time? And I know there's going to be a broad spectrum of kind of opinion on them based on your experiences. So that's fine, just dump it in the comments because it gives me a good steer as well. Also, I want to know what you're using as a sort of ceramic package or a ceramic product, because that's really useful for the channel as well. So thanks very much for watching, guys. This was a pros and cons on the ceramic coating. Stay tuned for the video. We're going to be shortly, probably this week, or maybe another week, doing a video on comparing 3 of the sort of well-known ceramic coating packages and products that are out there. So take care guys, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I